It takes about an hour for leak checks to occur. And a thumbs up from Ali.
SpaceX Dragon cabin configuration. SpaceX Dragon hatch is closed.
Copy, Dragon hatch closed. We've got a command here that will send imminently to transition the state machine, reference the hatch closed event detail, and I think you already know this, but continue suit donning.
Yeah, we'll continue suit donning.
And we just heard confirmation from the Axiom 2 commander, Peggy Whitson. The hatches are closed. The hatches between SpaceX Dragon Freedom and the International Space Station were closed at 8:20 a.m. Central Time this morning. Now, a sequence of events will occur in between our coverage, which we're going to wrap up here shortly.
Dragon Houston on the big loop for a comm check.
Have you loud and clear, Houston?
We have you loud and clear as well. We have configured RF communications and would like you to initiate comm checks with ISS and SpaceX at this time.
Copy. And station, Dragon, how do you read? Count it. Dragon Station, have you loud and clear. Have you loud and clear too, Steve. And SpaceX Dragon, how do you read?
Dragon SpaceX, we've got you 5 by 5.
Great, we have you loud and clear as well.
So again, the hatch on the Crew Dragon Freedom was closed this morning at 8:20 a.m. Central Time. But there is one more hatch that needs to close, and that's on the International Space Station side. NASA astronaut Steve Bowen will be working to get that hatch closed. This is called the A-Pass hatch. He'll then make sure to take some photos of the hatch once it's closed to make sure there's no FOD or foreign object debris, to ensure that the hatch has an airtight seal before he continues to methodically step through the process to get the hatch closed and then work through the depressurization sequence. Once the two hatches are closed, it's going to create an area in between the two hatches, which we call the vestibule. Once that vestibule is immediately created, it will be at space station pressure, about 14 pounds per square inch, but we do need to get that vestibule down to 0.
IDA MOI photos are transferred on SSC 12.
Houston copies, SSC 12. Thank you.
So in order to get the vestibule down to vacuum, we will depressurize it. That That process does take about an hour. We won't be on air monitoring that this morning, but we will come back on following depressurization ahead of undocking. Everything's still looking good this morning for an on-time undocking at 10:05 a.m. Central.
Houston Station, just a quick correction on the flashcard I used. It was seal number 1110.
We copy 1110.
And if you're just joining us this morning, you're getting a live view inside the SpaceX Crew Dragon Freedom, which has 4 private astronauts on board. The hatch to Crew Dragon Freedom is closed, and we are awaiting hatch closure on board the International Space Station ahead of undocking later this morning. Axiom 2 launched on Sunday, May 21st from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida and docked to the International Space Station the following day on May 22nd. During their 9 days in space, the crew has been working on over 20 different science experiments.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop for cabin temperature control.
Go ahead for cabin temperature.
Hey, Peggy, just some awareness. We commanded the hex bypass to allow crew control just now. It's on the maximum cooling setting, and a reminder that the temp control is allowed with 4.080 until pre-chill prior to deorbit.
Temperature control 4.080 until pre-chill for Dragon.
Good copy.
And another...
SpaceX Dragon, we are ready to pressurize. Step 2.2.
Copy, Dragon. We're with you. You are go to initiate suit leak check.
Inward.
So just a quick recap of where we're at right now. Earlier this morning at 8:20 a.m. Central, the hatch to Crew Dragon Freedom was successfully closed. At this time, we're awaiting the closure of the hatch on board the International Space Station side, that APAS hatch. You see NASA astronaut Steve Bowen continuing to work through procedures ahead of that hatch closure. Following this, the vestibule will be depressurized. This process takes about an hour, and then assuming all goes well, Crew Dragon Freedom will undock at 10:05 a.m. Central Time this morning. We're targeting a splashdown off the coast of Panama City, Florida this evening around 10:04 p.m. Central. As Steve Bowen continues to work through those procedures to get the APAS hatch closed, the International Space Station.
And SpaceX Dragon, it looks like we have 4 good suits.
Copy, Dragon. We see the same 4 good suits. Next up is vestibule depress. Stand by just a few minutes while ground teams confirm we are ready for that.
Copy, standing by for vestibule depress.
And hearing from Axiom 2 Commander Peggy Whitson that 4 good suit leak checks occurred inside the Crew Dragon Freedom. Again, Steve Bowen is continuing to step through those procedures to get the APAS hatch closed. The International Space Station is currently flying 270 statute miles over the Pacific Ocean just off the coast of New Zealand. And continuing to get a view inside Crew Dragon Freedom, you're looking at the Commander Peggy Whitson in the middle of your screen, and to her right is the pilot John Schaffner. Also on board are Ali Al-Karni and Rayana Barnawi. both of whom are representing the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And getting a slightly different shot from inside Crew Dragon, this one of Rihanna Barnaby on your left and pilot John Schaffner to her left. And you are seeing some flash there as NASA astronaut Steve Bowen gathers some imagery of the hatch. Again, he's checking to ensure that there's no FOD or foreign object debris that could pose a problem prior to undocking. Pull go for that undock and everything proceeding smoothly. Currently, Dragon is in its final configuration before undocking. Now, just like its approach to the International Space Station for docking, Dragon's departure and undocking and deorbit is designed to be fully autonomous, requiring no